Okay, our final full day of touring or recreating. We go to Fairbanks today and take the river cruise, and then tomorrow it's home.
Yep. Tomorrow's a long airfare.
Oh yeah. I stay in Denali right here.
Yes. And a beautiful day it is.
Yes, it is. Well, we had about a 2-hour bus ride from Denali to Fairbanks. We just had a pretty decent meal as part of this package, and now we're going to take the Discovery 3 riverboat tour.
These guys are pretty young. How do you start training with them when they're this tiny?
Well, we bring them out to this little enclosure here and encourage them to jump over the logs. But way before that, we're going to start the bonding process with these puppies. Instead, we use this 4-wheeler. We've taken out the engine on this and we've enhanced the brakes. And that allows these dogs to continue to do what they love all year round.
We're excited to be out here. All right, she gives them the command, all right, and away they go. And notice how much more quiet it just got. The cabin that Susan and her husband Dave built together. You see them picking up speed as they go. Every other dog in the yard freaking out. Hey, wait, pick me, I want to go.
Dogs are really flying. It's so impressive that they can carry me and the 4-wheeler. Together we weigh about 400 pounds and still be going at 20 miles per hour. Now up ahead, I'm going to have to give the team a left-hand turn.
All right, so you hear that ha command. That's for left. G is for right. You heard that one earlier there. And those commands just come from driving mules on a farm. But you notice she doesn't have any bits in their teeth. There's no reins on their back. She has no physical means of controlling that team. It's all voice steering and that trust and be trusted relationship that they build. It looks like Tekla's about to finish up her run right now. I'm just hoping the brakes hold today.
Whoa!
All right. Another fantastic run today, Tekla.
Well, thank you so much. That was a really fun run. And after every single time these guys go mushing, we like to go up and down the line and give everyone a nice pat on the back to let them know we appreciate all of their hard work.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of out of gym class and into the shower for these guys, huh?
So here's some domesticated reindeer on display. They're shedding their winter hair. That's the white stuff on top, and the darker hair on their bellies is their summer hair. And apparently the winter hair is hollow, so it's very warm and buoyant. Apparently you can't drown a reindeer. They just float no matter what. So the riverboat cruise was actually a lot of fun. We got to the hotel and the check-in process was fine. Got a room, no problem. Ate dinner. Problem is we got kicked out of our room at 11 a.m. Our flight doesn't leave until 10, and the shuttle to the airport doesn't leave the hotel until 7:15. So we had several hours to kill. So we came out to the pipeline, just killing a couple of hours.
And here we have the pipeline. And some beautiful scenery to go along with it.
And a sunny day in Fairbanks. Beautiful day. About 60. Here's an example of one of the very common trees in this part of the country. It's the paper birch. Apparently these are very, very common, along with the quaking aspen. And the leaves are not out yet, so I don't know which is which. But we really love the quaking aspen in Colorado, because the leaves really do quake. In a very gentle wind, they just quiver. Some things to know: the pipeline is zigzag to allow for expansion and contraction due to temperature changes and earthquakes. Sometimes it's buried in the soil where thaw-stable soils were found. It's often above ground and an insulated pipeline, so it doesn't involve the permafrost. And in other places, it's buried in a refrigerated ditch to keep the soil in a stable frozen condition, like for a road crossing. Please don't climb on the pipeline. These things on top are heat radiators. It has something to do with radiating the heat from the oil. The oil is warm when it comes out of the ground. I don't know what temperature, but I know it's warm. And these things have something to do with helping to radiate the heat from the supports from the pipe so that it doesn't melt the permafrost down underneath. Okay, this is something called a pig that they use for maintenance on the pipeline. In this case, this is the first one that was used when the line first started, because wax would build up on the internal walls of the pipe, and they would send this through to scrape the wax off the walls. But then once the system warmed up from the constant flow of the hot oil, wax buildup ended. So they stopped using that pig and went to this pig, which says something about moderating the flow in the line and making it easier to pump oil. But they also have pigs that are very sophisticated that can detect thin areas in the pipe and problems. And the temperature of the oil at this point right here is 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And tonight we start the dreaded 15 hours or more, 20 hours or more of being in airplanes and airport. We're in the Fairbanks International Airport. There's 6 gates. There's 3 right there. 3 right there. That's the entire airport. Everything's a little low key around here. We made it home okay from Fairbanks. We didn't have any trouble other than just jet lag, and that is a real thing, let me tell you. So I just want to share a few things that we learned about this trip, having never gone on a cruise before. And I want to say right up front that we really enjoyed the cruise. I never thought it would be something that we would like, but we did, and we'll probably do it again, and we really liked Holland America. But I just want to give you some reflections in no particular order. The first thing is I was very surprised at how quiet the room was. I expected to hear more of the engines, more people. It could be that the ship was only 2/3 full with clients, but I think it also helped that we were probably on the top floor. The next floor above us was dining, the Lido marketplace, the access to the outdoor pool and pool area. And so it was very convenient being right by the stairs. In the mornings to get Lori coffee, I just had to open the door, run up the stairs, and coffee was right there. And we were toward the rear of the ship. So we were quite a ways from the engines and being up high in the ship, you know, all the machinery's down low. And one thing to think about if you can choose your room is we were far away from the entertainment. The main stage, as they called it, was on the other end of the ship. And the nightclubs, the blues club, the places where they played music, they were way down like on deck 1 or 2 and in midship or more toward the front of the ship. So just keep that in mind if you can pick your room. Another thing that surprised me was how easy it was to get away from everyone. There were lots of little nooks and crannies where Lori and I could go and sit in a comfortable seat, look out the window. Would be near a bar where we could get drinks. I often work on these videos with my iPad, just sitting at a table in some little out-of-the-way place. And so I was surprised at that, how easy it was to feel alone, or at least not like that you were in a crowd of people. The excursions in the ports were fun. Just stay off the main drag, get away from Main Street, and get on some of the back streets. But there were definitely tourist traps. We found out that all the diamond stores, and who knew that was a thing? I didn't know that people go on cruises and then buy jewelry, but every port had 8 or 10 jewelry stores, very obvious on Main Street. And we found out that a lot of them are owned by the cruise companies. And also a lot of businesses provide a kickback to the cruise company so that business will be listed in their shopping maps. You can get a shopping map from the ship that tells you places to go shop, and you're supposed to get quote discounts and so forth. So it's very much a touristy thing, but it's also easy enough to get away from that and really enjoy the towns and the history about them. Alaska is 4 time zones away from where we live, and we should have made more of an effort to reset our body clocks. We were going to sleep at 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, and then waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. We were still on North Carolina time. You know, looking back, we should have made more of an effort to force ourselves to stay up later in the evenings and try to get synced with Alaska time. That really impacted us. We went to Hawaii in 2016, and I don't remember having trouble with jet lag and the time zone difference, but we certainly did this trip, and we could have worked on that to make it a little easier. Getting on and off the ship was amazingly easy. I expected there to be a line to get on and get off. It was never a big deal. They scan your card as you get off. When you come back on, you scan your card. You have to go through a security check through the X-ray machine or whatever, metal detector. But it was always quick and painless, so I was happy about that. Everything about the ship felt clean. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, but everything just felt clean. Even the eating areas where you might expect to see a napkin on the floor or dropped food, never ever saw that. And there were always people cleaning something, wiping something. The internet package that we had was, I think, the mid-tier package, and it was good enough to check email and, of course, do Facebook. They want you to do Facebook. CNN, major websites we could get to, but you could not get to YouTube. That was blocked. They did not want you streaming videos. And we could not connect our iPads to their Wi-Fi. We connected our phones, but never could get our iPads connected, and we weren't able to do a hotspot from our phones to our iPads to share the connection. So now it was adequate, but it's not like being on land, because I assume that it goes through some type of satellite. But we have T-Mobile, and at every port we had good strength, good signal with T-Mobile. So some of the videos that I posted while we were on the trip, I actually would edit the video and have them ready to upload, and then when we got to a port, I would just use my cell phone to upload the video that way, and that worked fine. Seasickness was not an issue at all, except the first day we were, I guess, north of Vancouver, exposed to the open ocean for a bit, and for a couple of hours it was we noticed it. We never got sick, but you could definitely feel the ship moving, hear it or feel it hitting waves, but it never rolled, we never got sick, but it was enough that we noticed it. And we went to a presentation in the place they call the Stage, and the advice there was to not have an empty stomach, to keep your stomach full, drink, and he even talked about green apples, eat apples. Anyway, the rest of the trip, it's an inside passage, so we were between islands to the west and then Canada to the east, so the seas were very calm, so we never had any issue whatsoever with rocking or anything. I'm pretty sure that we will do another cruise. I don't know that we will do another cruise/land adventure, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And we'll never do a cruise to like the Caribbean or someplace where you're on the ocean for several days just trying to get somewhere. One, we don't want to cruise on a party boat. We don't want to be on a ship with 5,000 people with the water slides and all that crap. We just don't care for that. That's why we really liked Holland America. They didn't have any of that. And the other thing about doing the inside passage or cruising along the coast is the scenery changes all the time. So you're laying in your bed or laying on the couch looking out your window, out the veranda, and the scenery is always changing. And it comes to you. You don't have to drive or walk to go see it. The thing that I didn't like about the land portion, and let me say up front that Holland America had the logistics down. Like luggage. We got off the ship in Whittier. We put the luggage outside our room and on the ship, and it showed up at the hotel in Anchorage. The next morning, we put it outside a room. It showed up at the lodge in Denali. Denali, when we left there, put it outside the room. They gave us tags every day, and it showed up in Fairbanks. And then for Fairbanks, they took our luggage, and it showed up at the airport. So that was nice. And all the transfers from the getting on the train to the bus, from the train to the hotel, from the hotel back to the train, from the train to the lodge, all those. Everything worked good. But the part I didn't like is on the ship we never felt crowded at all. But then the land portion, it felt crowded. We were always waiting in a line. A line to get on the bus, a line to, you have to wait to get off the bus because most of these people traveling with you are old, elderly, and they don't move too fast. So it took a while for everyone to get on the bus, a while for everyone to get off the bus. It was just more of a hassle. Like I said, on the ship, the scenery came to us, and we just sat in a room or sat out on a deck somewhere. On the land portion, you have to go to the scenery. So there was always transportation. Get on a bus, get on a train, which the train was fun also, but it was just a whole different experience. And everyone's doing that thing at the very same time. So you got 300 or 400 people, 3 or 4 buses that are doing, riding to the train or from the train to the hotel. So that was kind of a shock after being on the ship, where we never stood in line, never felt crowded, to all of a sudden, it's just, and that's not a negative, it was just different. And I didn't expect that, I wasn't prepared for that. Another thing is that we could have been told that COVID and staffing issues are still a thing. We got to Denali, got there about 5:30, 6 o'clock after a long day on the train, which was fun. And then we wanted to go eat, and the only restaurant really serving food at the lodge, you had to have a reservation, and there wasn't any openings till like 9 o'clock, and we were tired. Couldn't really go anywhere to just get a beer or get nachos or something. Finally, we got on some local bus and went to another tour company's lodge area. And actually, we didn't even go in the lodge. It was just a pizza place outside of this lodge area, and we got a pizza. And it was crowded and chaotic also. So that was kind of a letdown. They could have warned us that, hey, staffing is an issue. Think about food when you get there. It may not be easy to get. So that was a letdown. The only other letdown is our final day in Fairbanks. We got there the day before, had the riverboat cruise, which was fun. Went to the hotel, and then the next day we got kicked out at 11 a.m., but our flight did not leave until 10 p.m. that night. So what did we do all day long? We felt like that we were just kind of dropped off and forgotten about. I think Holland America could have done a little better job with maybe having something planned. Maybe the river cruise that we had the day before, maybe that should have been on the final day when we got kicked out of the hotel. We could have done the river cruise, been over 3 or 4 o'clock, and then taken to the airport and dumped there. We handled it okay. There was a flyer in the lobby about some company that would, for $20 we could go see the pipeline, and they pretty much take you anywhere you want to go for a fee, and so it kind of worked out okay. But everyone was talking about that, about how it just seemed like that Holland America dropped the ball, because everything else was so scheduled and handled so well that it was a bad way to end the trip. But still, now that we know what to expect on these kinds of trips, we would be better prepared. So still, overall, 99% satisfied with our trip and with Holland America. One thing that I would recommend is get one of those little power banks for your phones. It's $25 on Amazon. I can put a link for the one that I have down in the description for this video. Don't get an expensive one. Like I said, mine was $25 because I knew I would not use it often. But I used it a time or two, because some of the days we were out all day long and we were doing a lot with our phones, taking photos, and it came in handy a time or two. So I would highly recommend that you get one of those power packs. That's it. If anyone has any questions, just leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer it or to give you our take on things. And I appreciate everyone watching these videos, and stay tuned for our next adventure.